Good evening, all of you. Welcome to Revision IT program. Welcome to the module PLSQL. How are you, Aditya, Akshay, Sugyani, Sonal? I informed to all that we will have session today, but very few members are there today. Aditya, Akshay, Sugyani. Fine. So how good are you in practicals? I hope you are spending time to do practicals today in the afternoon when I conducted a cloud consultation. Some are there in practicals in the center. What about you all from Borvali, whoever are there today? Aditya? Doing well, very good Akshay. That is the way you should respond immediately, that the conference type. Sugyani, Sonal, what about you both? Fine. You have started, okay. But please make it fast. You will have exam in the coming week. If you don't spend good time with the practical, then it would be a trouble to us. Actually, due to the week half day going on, very good Sonal. So last two classes this week, due to studio maintenance, there were no classes. Today is actually the additional class we planned to compensate the classes which we missed in the Monday and Wednesday. Otherwise, we would have completed this week and we have moved for exam in the next week. So today is one more class, and Monday again we will have a session, and Wednesday we will have a session. Okay. Fine. So in this we are going to have a discussion on the concept of trigger. It is an important topic of the subject we shall discuss. Generally, when you are working with databases, certain actions would be taken place without your involvement. Those are all generally you experience like a primary key rule or a state constraint rule. At the time when you created a table, you generally experience certain type of rules automatically to get invoked. Fine. We have joined Sunny Kumar. How are you? And who is there from Pitampura Center? Right. So very slow, you are all joining. Yes, Sunny, very good. So as part of this, understanding the role of a trigger, we will discuss certain objectives of this lesson. What is a database trigger? And the use of the database trigger is one object we will discuss. And understanding different types of triggers is the second objective. Then we will create a trigger and we will experience how a trigger works. And while you are working with the trigger, the action of the trigger is called as firing a trigger. So what the database trigger firing rules we will discuss, and how to delete a trigger from the database, and getting the information about the trigger. These are all the objectives of our today's topic. Fine. So generally, after completion of certain topics, like we have completed procedures, we have completed functions, then we have moved for trigger. In the process of understanding trigger is also a block of PLSQL code. Same like how you created a PLSQL block of code using a procedure and using a function. Same manner, you too will write a trigger with certain statements of the PLSQL block. Okay. That is stored in the database and filed. The word filed is applicable for executing a trigger in response to a specified event. So very simple way we shall identify the role of a trigger. I will give you a very simple example. Generally, when you are inserting the data in a table, every value which you are providing to the specific column will match with the data type of the column. and it will match or it would be adhere to the given rule of a constraint. Suppose if you create a primary key constraint, if you are supplying a value, if the value is against the duplicate value or against the value which is already existing, if it is same, then it won't be accepted. Means primary key does not allow any duplicate value. So that is like a rule. Same manner, there is a check constraint. Salary should not be negative. So such type of a rule, if you create, when you try to insert a value in a column, salary column, you cannot insert a negative value. So check constraint, primary key constraint, foreign key constraint. So those are the different types of rules you can create on a table. Apart from that, you can create different types of rules using the trigger, but it gives a different advantage comparing over the general constraint. Okay. Okay, no problem, Akshay. Tell him. Okay, fine. So the trigger role and the trigger actions. The trigger action is nothing but the trigger firing, but it would be fired in different situations. At the time of inserting the data, it can be fired. At the time of deleting the data, it can be fired. And when you are updating, that time also the trigger can be fired. So those are all the different events or specified events where the trigger can be executed. The execution term in trigger concept, it is called as firing a trigger. Fine. So Oracle database automatically executes a trigger when a condition occurs, when the defined or a specified condition occurs. So at the time of insertion, it should be fired. At the time of deletion, it should be fired. At the time of updation, it has to be fired. So when you specify the condition, the trigger can be executed. So that is what is a trigger. I want to share many things about the trigger and trigger roles also. Trigger can be defined on a table. Trigger can be defined on a view. Obviously, trigger will belong to that particular schema. Who is the owner of that particular database or like a schema. So any way you can create a trigger. Generally, when you are creating a trigger on a table, you will be belongs to that table as a owner. Reason, you have already connected as a schema owner, like HR table, HR schema, and all tables like employee, department, job grades. Those are all the tables available. So trigger can be defined on a table or can be created in a view, schema, and a database, all users. So there are two different ways we can understand about the triggers. Here table, schema, database, view. But while you are defining these triggers and these different areas, these areas can be defined in two different ways. One is DML trigger, one is DDL trigger. DML trigger in the sense like your insertion, deletion, updation. I am writing a point here. You please identify DML trigger and DDL trigger. In our course, we are not going to discuss about DDL trigger. DDL trigger is database administrative purpose. We can create some triggers. But developer track will create and work with DML triggers, data manipulation language triggers, right? So these are all related to the manipulation, insertion, deletion, updation. For those type of actions, we create triggers. Can I know from all of you? Fine. So the same thing, yes, Annie, very good. The same thing you can see here. DML, delete, insert, update. DDL, create, alter, drop. Even create table is a DDL statement. So wherever you use create, alter, drop, it's called as DDL. It is a subset of SQL language. And in case some of the other operations related to databases, server errors, log on, log off details you want to capture, system startup and shutdown. So these are all actually the completely the database administrative activities. So that point of time, you want to record all the errors and the reasons of errors caused, and log on, log off details of the database user. And generally, database will be shut down in organization, not a physical computer shutdown. Database can be shut down and can be start up. So those two information also can be recorded as and when it is needed for the administrative purpose. So those are all belongs to the DDL triggers. We don't discuss much about DDL triggers because our main objective of the PLSQL is developer track only. Okay. Apart from this, we have application triggers also, but I want to share a small example of trigger first to you all. Then I will move forward to explain the role of other category of the triggers. That would be easy to you all to understand and to analyze. Is it fine with you all? All of you please respond. Fine. So I want to share some examples first, then I will take you all for other things to understand. Okay. I'm going to share some examples. So I'm connecting as a HR schema owner. So I have connected as a HR user. 1 minute please. Fine. So now here, first I want to explain few things to you all. I request you all to remember the concept of two things. What are those two? I want to explain some trigger tables automatically generate. First I want to share some data and data related insertion and deletion operations. So assume that I have a table employee, which is well known structure to you all. Easily you can analyze the table and table structure. So that's the reason I'm writing some properties of the employee table. Employee ID column, employee name, designation, salary, email and phone number. So these are all the general records I am recording here. Employee 1, employee 2, employee 3, 4, 5. Likewise, assume that we have many employees in the table. So in this database, this is one table. Now the employee name is AAA. So some names I am writing here as general, for example. So manager, accountant, representative, finance executive, sales manager. So these are all the different designations I have entered here. So salary also I want to enter. So salary I am entering as 50,000, 20,000. Fine. So just these are the records. Now here, when you are inserting a record in a table, how do you write a statement? Insert into employee. So then you will write the values class. So values you will supply in the particular order. Suppose you want to insert a new record. So how do you insert the value? E006 is the one employee. employee name is FFF. Such a way you will write the remaining all the details, like he is the analyst and his salary can be something like 50,000. So likewise you will provide the details for that particular employee. This is the statement. Can I know from all of you, are you all with me? This is a general example. Easily you can understand what actually I want to share with you. Okay? Fine. So when you are inserting a new record in the table, this new record will be a proposed record to the table, proposed value to the table. Because the table has only 5 records so far, we are going to insert the 6th one. So this is the 6th record. So the 6th record is the proposed record to the table. So that I want to mention it here. Try to understand this example. So the 6th record is the proposed record, right? Is the proposed record. So this proposed record will be available in a memory before it is inserted into the table. That point you please analyze, because this proposed record is not being inserted. Currently it is just going to be inserted. So this is called as a insert table. Fine. So insert table in the sense it is not been inserted so far, it will be inserted in the table. So it is currently is to be inserted. So this is called as new table, right? This is called a new table. Can I know from all of you? This is employee original table. This new record which you are going to insert into the employee table is the proposed value, that will be called as new table. Can I know from all of you? Sirish, Kanaj, I hope you are not belongs to this batch. Could you please respond? Sirish? Fine. So same manner, this is actually new table. So the new table record will be inserted as and when you inserted the data into the table. Like this one, this will be inserted. Okay. So this is the way it will be inserted. So this is actually the flow of action. So this is called as a new record. This is the proposed record to be inserted into the table. So when you write insert statement, this the record will be inserted. Same manner, I want to write a delete statement. Delete employee where employee ID equal to, I want to mention one employee ID, E003. Fine. So when I want to, or else I want to write it in a different way, I want to update. I want to update employee where employee ID equal to E003. So for the particular employee I want to update. Set salary equal to salary plus 10,000. So this employee salary has to be updated to 55,000 now, right? This salary to be updated. So to this, to get updation, please follow this carefully. Please understand this. This record will be taken out from there and it will be copied here. This is called as old record. This is called as old record. This old record has been removed from the original table. Please try to analyze. This is the old record. Old. So old table. See, old table data will be modified to 55,000 because this has to be updated. So now this has been modified as 55. This 55 will be copied into the place where this is the one. Taken point, all of you? So whatever has been deleted, that has been updated, then only it has been copied into the original table. Taken point, all of you? See, once again observe that This is the record we have deleted. Okay, this is the record has to be updated. That's the reason it has been deleted from its original place. Then it has to be updated with the 55,000. Then it has to be copied into its original place, right? So that is the old table, and whatever is modified, that is the new table. Try to analyze the concept once again. New table. New table data is the proposed data to be inserted into the table. Point taken. New table record is the one I applied a different color. So new and old. Whatever you updated is the old. Whatever you are inserting is the new. Can I know from all of you? This the action automatically takes place every time whenever you perform update operation or whenever you perform insert operation. Point taken. These two are important to remember while you are working with triggers. That is the reason I explained this. This operation will take place automatically in memory. You do not need to involve in any stage to handle this type of process of updation or this type of process of insertion. Can I know from all of you? Just click on play as you are all following this point. Fine, very good. So 2 points you need to remember. One is new, one is old. Okay, these two if you can remember, then I will explain the role of a trigger. So new is the one which is the proposed value to be inserted into the table. So now if you look into this, the new one will be inserted into its original position. So old one is the previous value which has been deleted. Okay. Who is there from Rosary Garden? On and off you are connecting. Shrish, could you please respond? Are you an existing student? Today only I am seeing you with name. Right? So now I want to explain a trigger concept to you all. Okay. So I'm writing a notepad point here. So that DML operations can be done. Sirish, you tell me till what extent you completed, then I can share with you. There is an employee table where DML operations can be performed, and the table allow the users to insert data on any day of the week. See, generally when employees are working, they can insert the data any day on that particular table. Like I can apply leave on any day, or I can update my profile on any day. So like I can do any transaction on any day. There is an employee table where DML operations can be performed. The table allows the user to insert data on any day of the week. So that table data I want to share it with you. Then I will move forward to explain the concept to you. Okay. First I am sharing the table. Please look into the table structure. This is employee table. Getting ready. So no record in that particular table. Currently there is no record. I want to insert a record in this table. Okay. Some values I want to insert into that particular table. So I want to share a small insert statement for this. Then I will move forward. small code block I want to take. Who joined just now? Who joined just now? Yes, Devendra, are you joined just now? Fine. I will share this small example to you all. You too can use this example. I want to insert a record in that particular table. So what record I want to insert? Insert into employee table, ID, first name, last name, start date. You can see end date, salary, city, and description. These are the columns. And in the values class, I want to insert 01, Jason, the name of the employee, Martin is the employee, and we are converting the date value, the number what you provided into date, because we have two different date columns, start date and end date. Two columns are there, so converting into two date at the time of insertion, and the salary is 1234, city Toronto, and the description of the employee job is programmer. So this is the record I am inserting into the table first. Okay. Then again I will explain this point to you all. Fine. 1 minute. So I dropped the employee table. I want to share that entire process of creating the table. Then I will go forward. It's a simple example I want to share with you. Table created. Now in this table I am inserting the record whatever I shared with you. So one record is going to be inserted. One row created. Now select star from employee table. So there is a record here. On what date I inserted the record? Today is. On what date I inserted the record? Please let me know. Today is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Let me know please. What day today? Friday, exactly. So you are able to insert the record on Friday. Even you can insert the record on Saturday, right? Yes, Friday. So I am changing the system date and time. I request you all to analyze what I am doing here. System date and time I am changing just to show that I am changing the system date to 27th. Okay. Today I am changing to 27th. So even I try to insert the record. So one more record I want to insert into this by changing the date into tomorrow. So then I inserted one more record I am inserting there. Second record I am inserting. Second record is also inserted. Select star from employee. Two rows got inserted. Means I was able to insert the record on Friday and I was able to insert the record on Saturday. You can see the date is Saturday 27th. It is showing on my computer. So you can see the date is selected as 27th. Now I want to put a rule on this table not to insert any record on Saturday and Sunday. Point taken, all of you. The requirement is clear to you. There is an employee table where all operations can be performed anytime round the clock. But now you want to apply a rule on the table not to insert a record on Saturday and Sunday. Fine? All of you please respond. Everyone. Right. So this has to be identified automatically from backend. We don't always check whether the data is Saturday or Sunday. We'll simply consider that it should not be inserted on Saturday and Sunday. So for that you want to create a rule. Okay, the rule is trigger. So now we shall create a rule, a simple rule. I want to explain how to create a rule. Fine. So then you can check finally how a trigger works. So that point of time you need to remember what I explained about these two, what is new and what is old. So new table and old table concept you need to recall at the time when I am explaining that. Okay. So I want to create a trigger here for this table, for employee table. Once if this is clear, then remaining all concepts will be clear to us. Okay. To create a trigger, same like the syntax create trigger. So you can give any name or you can use create or replace. Existing trigger can be replaced. Create or replace trigger. There you can define the name for the trigger. Any name you can define. So I'm giving a name as employee underscore employee birth date or employee birth ID. Fine. So this operation is related to insertion I want to do, and this operation I want to define for deletion also. Means I don't want to allow the users to delete or insert on Saturday or Sunday. So that's the rule I want to define as a trigger. Create or replace trigger, trigger name. So the operation DML is insert, update, delete. So I want to write before insertion, insert, before insert or delete. So likewise you can write. For more clarity, I want to put it in uppercase and I want to put this in uppercase. So that gives a clear syntactically is a clarity on what we are doing. So on what table we want to do it? We want to create an employee table. On is a class on employee table. Create or replace a trigger name, before insert or delete on employee table. Okay. So here we should use a keyword referencing. What it's supposed to reference? At the time of insertion, there is a automatically created table is new table. So at the time of insertion, on what date the new table can be inserted? That can be inserted on whatever the date you are going to do a transaction, right? At the time of deletion, on what date you delete, that date also will be considered in the memory. So these two are the tables. Okay, these two tables have to be referenced. Referencing new table as new. It has to refer the new table as new table, old as old. So this syntax you should remember every time. So that's the reason I explained about this concept to you all. It's a bigger concept, but I thought of making it simple and easy to you all. What is new and what is old? At the time of insertion is a proposed value. At the time of deletion is the old value. So referencing new table as new table, old table as old table. Can I know from all of you? Till this extent is clear? Please, more points are there to write. Yes, very good. Very confidently you are all responding. Good. So referencing new as new, old as old. New table as new table, old table as old table. Then you can write the begin statement. So then you can write the remaining part of the logic, whatever you require. And you can write end statement. So where it stops, where it ends. Where it starts and where it ends. So only the thing you should consider, the current date should not be Saturday or Sunday. So likewise you want to define a rule. So I'm writing a condition. If like I want to check toDate function, I'm using toDate. Or I want to use toChar function of the system date I want to check. SysDate is the function, right? SysDate will display the current date, right? And dy is the date format. dy is the date format. I want to pick up a part of the date. So from sysdate I am picking up the part of the date. If the part of the date is in, I am mentioning if it is in Saturday or if it is in Sunday, right? So if it is in Saturday or if it is in Sunday. If the date is in Saturday and Sunday, then it should not allow. So that for that, raise underscore application is a system error I want to generate underscore error, right? Application error I want to generate automatically. In case if you are inserting on a date, I'm taking the date value, sysdate, date I'm taking a part of the date. In case if it is on Saturday or Sunday, then it is going to generate an error. The error number I want to define. So any error you can define based on the Oracle standard errors you can define. Fine. So I want to write no create or delete employees on weekend. So that I want to write no create or delete employees on weekend. So that the way we mentioned here means that particular date we don't allow insertions or deletions. Point taken. No create or delete employees on weekend. So that the way we have defined, then if has to be closed and if. So this is the restriction we are creating on a table, not to insert and not to delete on a particular date. So create or replace trigger, trigger name. Before insertion or deletion on employee table. Referencing new as new table, old as old table. At the time of insertion, new table will be taken and the proposed value of the new table. At the time of deletion or any updation again will be caused to insertion only. But at the time of deletion, deletion is also not allowed. So old as old. Begin. To char, not do char. To char sysdate. It is converting the current date into character, data type and picking the date part, date dy. In case if it is Saturday or Sunday, then raise application underscore error, raise underscore application underscore error, error number, no create or delete employees on weekend. So that the way a message also should be generated. So this is the trigger we are creating. This is the one simple and easy example. Let it be executed. Trigger created. I request you all to analyze the trigger got created here. Okay. So now I want to change the system date. Now the system date I am changing to 26th. Okay. Previous date. So I want to insert a record. That's why I changed it to 26th. So first I want to share select star from employee. So 2 records are there. Now I want to insert one more record in the table. Okay. So you please observe that I am inserting one more record. Okay. That is the 3rd record. So employee 3 James. So one more record has been inserted. So 3 records. Still we are in 26. So now I want to change it to 27th. I want to move it to Saturday. So 27th is Saturday. Okay. Okay. Now I want to insert one more record. So as per the rule, we don't allow the user to insert the record on Saturday and Sunday. Even deletion also we don't allow. So now I am inserting on Saturday. Oh. So I'm inserting on Saturday. Then we shall see. Now create or delete employees on weekend. So the error caused in that particular table, human resources schema, employee underscore BID. So error during execution of the trigger, Oracle related error also have been generated. Point taken. So it is not allowing us to insert the record on Saturday. Current date I have changed as Saturday. Kindly follow this. I request you all to respond. Same manner, I want to delete employee. If you write this statement, all employees should be deleted, but it is not allowing me to delete any record from the table. Can I know from all of you? Is it clear to you all? Got the clear idea? All of you? Very good. So the same example, I will make it available. You can create a table and insert the record, then change the date into a different date, then only you can experience it. If you create a trigger, if you insert on other days other than Saturday and Sunday, the record can be inserted. But if you can modify it, the date and time, then if you try to attempt it, then it would give a clear different way. Point taken? Right. So apart from this, generally we can work with application triggers. We are not going to define any application trigger in our module. Reason, our module is not Oracle Forms. Okay. All of you please respond. Don't click just. I hope everyone understood. If you have any question, you can ask me now. So database triggers only covered in this course. Yes, Sunny, got it. Very good, Sunny. So pipes, whenever a DML or DLL, actually DDL, okay, our system event occurs on a schema or a database. Application type errors. Applications in the sense, we generally work with the front-end applications and we will work with the back-end databases. Yes, it is clear. Aditya, Amarnath, thank you. Right. So application triggers pipe when event occurs within a particular application, like a front-end environment where user logged at a particular point, user log of time, and those are all you want to trigger in recording. User attempted three times counting, and it should be recorded in the backend table. So those are all the different types of triggers can be created. But when you are working with the business triggers or business applications, the implementation of the triggers is for the purpose of security, like how many attempts you have done. If it is crossing 3 attempts, then it has to be filed differently to create like a logical question, like a enter one-time password or some other security questions generation. So application will behave in such a way. Auditing, how many times user have connected, how many attempts the user has done, and how many times he sign out from the application, from which environment, using which computer IP connected many times. So those are all data integrity, uniqueness of the data, primary key, foreign key relationship among the data tables, table replication, copying the data from one table to another table, computing derived data automatically, like you will create a table and you will work on the data of the table, like my total interest with the principal will be generated as the amount to be paid. In case if there is a table which is calculated interest and a column where interest is there, principal amount and interest should be produced as the amount to be paid. So event logging, like different type of actions done by the application user, those are all will be recorded using event logging. Fine. So these are all the triggers. Apart from that, simple DML triggers are before insert, before update, after insert, after update, instead of update, instead of delete, instead of insert. So these are the 3 different types. We have identified one is before trigger, before insertion, before updation. So these are the different category of the triggers: insert, update, delete, and before insert, before update, before delete, after insert, after update, after delete, instead of insert, update or delete. So other things are compound triggers, non-DML triggers are event triggers, those are all DDL triggers. Because those are all not DML triggers, obviously those are all DDL triggers. And related to database event capturing database triggers. Okay, trigger, you never invoke it explicitly. The trigger will be fired automatically from the backend. So in the previous example, if you change the system date, I am changing the system date from 27th. Currently, you can look into the example once again. The current date is 27th. I am trying to delete employee table. Delete employee. So what is firing here? Cannot create or delete employee on weekend. Now I want to change this date to 26th. So if you change the date to 26, then the rule whatever you created will be modified. So 3 rows have been deleted now. Just the trigger how it is being fired. Point taken. So you don't need to call the trigger to any extent. It would be automatically gets invoked and automatically it will be fired. So that's the point I thought of sharing with you all. Can I know from all of you? Automatically it gets fired, automatically it can be invoked. You don't need to invoke or you don't need to update any stage. Fine? Right. So trigger, specifying the trigger firing, that is nothing but the timing of the trigger you can specify. Before, execute the trigger body before the triggering event on a table. So what we have experienced in the previous one, when you are inserting a record, before insertion, before delete, the trigger was fired. So execute the trigger body before the triggering DML event on a table. After, execute the trigger body after the triggering DML event on a table. Instead of doing something, it can do something else. So instead of doing updation or deletion insertion in one particular table, it would cause us to insert those records in a different table. I will explain that with a practical to you all. Execute the trigger body instead of the triggering statement. This is usual for views that are not otherwise modifiable. So it is majorly for the view purpose. Fine. Some theory concept related to triggers is, like conceptually we can understand. But I want to share some other examples to you as the part of your textbook examples even. And I want to share a different example, then I will move forward. Okay. Whatever the example I will share to you all, the same thing I will make it available to you. You can use that. Okay. Only the thing, entire content, whatever I will provide, that you can use it. Okay. To see it is a very big content, but very easily you can work with this. Okay. So I want to drop my table employee first. Drop table employee. So table drop. There is no table employee. Same manner, I have one more table that also I want to drop. Employee audit. So now I want to share the complete content. This content you can take from me. I will update into our group. You can take it. So I'm creating an employee table first. Okay. This is the employee table I'm creating. It's a pretty simple example. So table got created. I have one more table, that is employee audit table. If any record of the employee has been deleted, it has to be recorded in an audit table. because employee transferred, employee left the organization. So no need to be put into the original employee table. That has to be moved into audit table, further reference in future. So for that purpose, I am creating one more table, that is employee audit table. So the table also got created. So two tables are there. So I want to insert the data in employee table first. So these are all the records I want to insert in employee table. Multiple records I want to insert. Fine. It is not a big thing because multiple statements instead of writing whatever available, that example I am using here. I am keeping semicolon to execute all statements at a time. Just I am keeping a semicolon at the end of insert statement. So one row created, all rows have been inserted. Employee table. So you can see the entire data of employee table because we have inserted total 8 rows. I have selected all rows at a time. I have inserted. At the same time, I want to show one more table, that is employee audit table. So this is already been inserted, but here the table is got created, but there is no record in the table. That also I want to share with you. So no rows selected, right? Can I know from all of you, is the scenario clear? One employee table, one employee audit table, two tables. All of you please respond. Employee table and employee audit table, two tables. All of you please respond. Generally you are responding for everything. You are waiting. Yes, please. Fine. Now here, a simple example of a trigger we shall see here. But this trigger for after deletion, how you want to record it. Fine. So these statements I request you all to analyze. This is your trigger. Create or replace trigger employee after delete. The name of the trigger is employee underscore after delete. After delete is the role of the trigger. After deletion on employee table, it has to happen for each row because this action has to be happened for each row. Each row of the employee table has to be triggered, not a statement. Entire row has to be affected, each row of the table. So you declared a variable of varchar data type of 10 characters length. Then you are checking begin. This is a comment entry, username of person performing the delete on the table. Okay. Select user into username from dual. So dual is a temporary table that would record the username. Then insert into employee audit table all columns of employee audit table from old as ID, old salary, sick date, username into the new table employee audit table. So when you created the employee audit table, you can see employee audit table structure here. So employee audit table, what are all there? ID column is there. Employee audit table salary column is there. So on what date it is being deleted should be recorded. And who is the user is deleting? Who is the user is deleting? That username also should be inserted into the deleted by whom is the column. So this is the audit table structure actually what we have created. Now if I create this figure, after deletion of employee table, for each row of the employee table data will be copied into the audit table and inserts into employee audit table, ID column, salary column, delete date and deleted by. These 4 columns data from the old table dot ID, old table dot salary, because when you are deleting old as old, that you please remember, right? One is from the original table will be deleted, that old is old will be inserted, and on what date you deleted, who are the user, who is the user deleted this, that also will be recorded. So once again I will explain. If you ask me to explain this concept, I copied the code content, then I want to execute this trigger. Executed, trigger created. Now the trigger is ready. The role of the trigger is when you delete any record from employee table, that has to be recorded in audit table, and it has to record on what date you deleted and who is the user deleted it. So those things should be recorded out there. Fine, all of you? Right. So now I want to delete a record from employee table. Employee. So in employee table, these many records are there. Same, I want to take the trigger as audit table also. Employee audit table. So in this employee audit table, there is no record. Now I want to delete a record from employee table. So which record I want to delete? A single record I want to delete. Delete employee where ID equal to 08. So that you please observe who is the 08 here. The 08 is James. The James record I am deleting from employee table. Delete employee where ID equal to 08. I executed one row deleted. Now I want to put this in comments, this line. Then I want to remove this to check that record is not there in employee table. So 8th record is not there in employee table. The same thing you can observe in employee audit table. So I executed audit table. So kindly observe this. So 08 has been recorded in audit table automatically without your intervention. Same manner, if you want to delete all records from employee table, so I remove the comment entry of the remaining. So this is the one, delete employee. So this is not required. Okay. Now I am deleting all records from the employee table. 7 rows have been deleted. Now I want to check in the employee audit table. There is no record in employee table. Now all rows have been copied into who deleted it. HR deleted it. On what date HR deleted it? On 26th August it has been deleted by HR. Point taken. All of you please respond. Is it easy and simple to understand? Right. So who joined just now? Rohan Bhatia from Shyambajar. Are you attending regularly? Okay, Roshan. Okay, fine. So in the previous example, whatever we have created for secure employee. Okay, Rohan. Good, good. Right. No problem. So the secure employee is the one you can see how we have created. Okay. The same concept you can see with multiple conditions here. Whatever we have created in the previous example, on employees table, the trigger is secure employee. Okay, so insert into employees, then employees table will be fired with this trigger, secure employee trigger. Before insert on employees table, begin sysdate, it is taking the sysdate value and converting into character Saturday, Sunday, or sysdate 24 hours, minutes it is taking, okay, not between 8 o'clock and 18. So 8 o'clock and 18, 8 to 6. Raise application error, and you may insert into employee table only during normal business hours. So morning 8 o'clock to evening 6 o'clock only you can insert. After that you cannot, not between 8 o'clock to 18, okay, and before the time you can insert it, not between 8 to 18. So normal business hours only you can insert. So you are adding more predicates, like conditionally, not only the Saturday, Sunday, and you are defining the time of the data to be inserted in employee table, and you are restricting it. Not only that, at the time when you inserted it, so you can check the same example when you are inserting the data. If the time slot is different, then it will generate an error. But the same thing I showed to you in a different way. By changing the system date and time, I have made you all to understand it. Can I know from all of you? If you follow the textbook, this is the trigger you can create. So the same thing, you can add more predicates conditionally. So what are those things here? If the system date in Saturday, Sunday, or if it is in 24-hour format, 08 and 18 is not allowed. Then if deleting, then raise the application error. You may delete from employee table only during normal business hours if the message will be displayed. Else if at the time when you are inserting, only during normal business hours you can insert. When you are updating, it would display only in the normal business hours it can be updated. So likewise, for everything you have written insert or update or delete. So all you mention in a single trigger over here. All you mention, if deleting, if else if inserting, else if updating. So all have been mentioned using a single trigger. All of you, please respond. Right. All of you, if you have any question, you can ask me. It is multiple conditions defined in a single trigger. So that is conditional predicates more. Not a single conditional predicate. You have applied for same logic for insertion, deletion, updation. 3 different ways. All of you, please respond. Fine. See this example. Creating a DML row trigger. So you don't want to allow the user to cross a limit of the salary. So restrict salary is the trigger name. So it is going to restrict the salary, with certain amount of the salary only should be provided to the employee. Right? Create or replace trigger, restrict salary. Before insert or update of salary on employees. In employee table, at the time of insertion, before and before updation of the salary column for each row of the employee table. These are actually the common syntax. This syntax is fixed. This syntax is common because it is nowhere related to any logic. Whenever you want to create a trigger, it is common based on your requirement. Create or replace trigger, trigger name. Before insert, before update, before delete. So that you can write before insert or update or delete of salary column name on employees table with simple English terminology for each row, right? So for that, whatever I have selected in blue color, that is fixed in common syntax. It is nowhere related to any logic. Only the part of the logic is here. In between if and if. These two are conditional statements. So not new job ID. New is the table which is a proposed table. Job ID in administrative president and administrative vice president. And salary is 15,000, greater than 15,000. Then it never allows you to insert the data. Means it's not job ID administrative president or job ID administrative vice president and the salary is greater than 15,000, then it generates an error. So at the time when you are inserting the data of employees, if it is crossing more than 15,000, then it generates an error, right? It allows maximum of 15,000. That too, other than these two roles, in case if any employee has the salary more than 15,000, it doesn't allow you. That is the logic here. So if not job ID from the proposed table, that is new table, administrative president or administrative vice president in clause, and new salary greater than 15,000, then there is an error. So when you are updating employee salary, for the employee result is not the designation with administrative president and administrative vice president, and salary is 15,500. It is crossing the limit whatever you have given. So it has generated an error. Employee cannot earn more than 15,000. So that the way it has been restricted here. Can I know from all of you? Is a DML row trigger. So each row we have already identified and now again we have discussed. So actually old and new qualifiers I have already explained to you all. But if you follow your courseware, this will be explained in almost 60% of the explanation of the trigger. But for my comfortness, I have explained this beforehand only. Okay, old and new qualifiers. When a row level trigger fires, the PLSQL runtime engine creates and populates two data structures, nothing but two tables. Okay, table is a data structure. Old, store the original value of the record processed by the trigger. New contains the new values. Old is when you update, one record has been deleted and updated. That is the old. When you delete it, obviously it will be old. When you are inserting new one, is the new one. New and old have the same structure as a record declared using the row type on the table, because old and new will be like same table. So the structure of same data structure. So data operation, insert old value will not be there because first time we are inserting. So new value is inserted value. Update, value before update was the old. Value after update will be the new. Delete, value before delete is the one. But new value will not be there because you deleted it. So this table you remember, then everything will be simple. If you ask me, I will explain again. If you have any question. All of you? If you have any question, you can ask me, please. Any questions? Please respond. If you have a question, you can ask me, all of you. Fine. Status of a trigger. Trigger can be enabled and trigger can be disabled also. Whenever you want to enable a trigger, By default, when you create a trigger, it will be in a state of enable. The trigger runs its trigger action if a triggering statement is issued, and the trigger restriction if any evaluates to true default. That means what you know. Whenever you create a trigger, that trigger will be ready for its firing action. So by default, the property of the trigger will be set to true. So that is the default property of the trigger. Disable, if you mention explicitly that trigger can be disabled, means firing nature of the trigger will be disabled. So the trigger does not run its trigger action, even if a triggering statement is issued, and the trigger restriction, in case if you write anything, would evaluate to true. So that is very simple to analyze. So then how you can do it? So you can find a small concept of this. Alter trigger, trigger name, disable, enable. You can see the statement, trigger, disable, enable statement you can find over there. Alter trigger, trigger name, disable, enable. Alter trigger, trigger name, disable, enable, all trigger. Means here the first statement, a particular trigger can be disabled or enabled, whatever you want. A particular trigger, all triggers on a particular table, disable, enable of all triggers. Okay. You are not mentioning trigger name over there. You are mentioning table name. That's the difference you please observe here. Okay. Recompile trigger for a table is what you know. Trigger will be recreated. Alter trigger, trigger name, compile. Drop trigger, trigger name. If you don't want to have the trigger for further need, you can drop the trigger from the database. All of you, please respond. Any questions? All? Rohan, Akshay, Sugyani, Sonal, Sunny, Devendra, Akshay Rale, Akshay Center. Here. Okay. And when you are working with a trigger as a database user or administrator or developer, you may want to know the information of the triggers, whatever you have created on a table or whatever you have created on a particular database. So data dictionaries are available to find the information about the triggers. So user underscore objects, it provides all objects information. That is a well-known table to us, right? User are all are DBA triggers, display trigger information, object information, and displays the syntax errors for a trigger. So these are the different views. But when you want to take user underscore trigger table, you can find the complete data of the trigger. So now I am taking user underscore triggers. So now you can see secure employees trigger, update job history, lot of different triggers. And the type of the trigger type also can be identified here. Anyhow, I will explain some more category of the triggers to you all. And just these are all what are the triggers we have created, and those are all available here. Right? So user underscore object provide all table information, all objects information. But if you take only trigger information, select star from user underscore objects. Is for all tables. Okay, 1 minute. There are all objects. Only trigger objects, object type you can see here. So employee audit is showing as it's the object type here. But what type of it is? Object type is trigger. If you restrict it, you will find trigger names also. So I'm writing here where object type equal to, so I want to mention it as trigger over there. Is a case sensitive, you know, when you are passing a value. So only the trigger whatever you have created will come out. So that you can see as the triggers whatever have been created. Fine. User underscore trigger is the name of the dictionary table where all triggers information will be recorded. Any questions? All of you? Fine. Fine, fine. So I want to share certain points with you all. Actually today very few members have come today for our batch. I'm sharing some points here. So again, I thought of continuing, but very few members have joined. Only you are all available. Mainly Borivali Center, few members regularly whoever are attending. And the class again on Monday, and the class is on Wednesday again. Right? So can you all join to the class even on Tuesday? Is it possible to you all? Click on plus and minus, no problem. Click on plus and minus. Same time slot, same time slot. So they have others have other classes, no problem. So Monday, Wednesday will be the last two classes of our PLSQL. Monday, Wednesday, right? So after that, that will be, you have 10 days time to go for exam almost. Today is 26th. So you will have exam. As you all asked me to postpone it, it has been pushed to 2nd. So can you all write on 2nd? That is Friday, September. Can I know from all of you? No. How come it is possible? It's not in my hand to decide it as you are requested. Okay. Why, Sunny? Oh, you have exams. That you can decide. Okay. So if you all have college exams, so 4th is Sunday. Okay. Exam will be usually on the same time slot, but the center can decide based on your requirement. Okay. Akshay. Yes, Rohan, I have taken your point. Right. So I request you all to follow the courseware. If you have any questions, you can ask me, and I will conduct some cloud consultations. I will conduct MT preparatory also. Only few topics we will discuss by Monday, and I request you all to join on Monday. 6th September is okay. 5th is what date? Oh, Monday. So currently it's not on my hand, but Aditya, surely I will help you. It has already been modified by them. So don't worry. Please join on Monday, right? Is it fine, Aditya Amarnath? Generally, when we are reaching to the exam, we will be in some tension, right? Yes. So if we all have prepared beforehand, then we won't feel that much. I too can understand the portion is big. So, but if you prepare well, then it would be easy. Yes, Rohan, sure. Okay, fine. So I request you all to participate in feedback. I'm leaving you a little bit early by considering very few members have joined. Instead of carrying one more session on triggers, I'm leaving you all a little bit early today, and we will have 2 more sessions Monday and Wednesday. And one more session is PLSQL compiler. On what date you have that CT? Why don't you attempt it? Some are attempted, that's the reason. Everything, if I continue, yes, that I will try. Okay? Okay. Yes. But you too, please attempt it, or else I will do it. I will request them. Okay? Fine. All of you. Sunny, Sonal, everyone. Okay? Fine. So, please attend on Monday again, and we'll continue the remaining parts. Okay, participate in feedback, all of you, and thank you all, and good night. I'm leaving a little bit early by considering others. Yes. Yes, Sonal. Sure, Sonal. I will update you on group. Okay. Yes, Aditya. I will discuss. I will share it with you all. Not on tomorrow, but I will make it to be available to you all, and with the postponement, I will update you all. Okay. I will always try to do some favor to you all. Okay. Right. Any more points? So you are all expecting to be on Monday. That is 50 you are expecting, right? Click on play. If that is correct, on 50 you are expecting. Yes. Okay. Fine. Sure. Thank you all. Participate in feedback. Good day to you, and good night. Thank you. Good night, Sugyani.